Dear Lauren, I'm in my 40s, have been married for 15 years, and have been engaging in multiple affairs over the last 5 years. My marriage has never been toxic. We don't fight about much. We generally work well together. Our sex life has been subpar by my standards for some time. My sex drive is maybe higher than most, and my wife's is lower than most. I didn't really appreciate this as much as I should have when we were dating. And then with children, I started having affairs, short-lived flings with people that love to have sex. My most recent affair is with someone I work with and believe I've fallen in love with. My wife found out about my affair partner because of an iPhone update snafu where her new phone got all my iMessages. My wife and I decided to try and work things out, but I'm not really in love with her. I don't feel attracted to her as I do my affair partner. The things keeping me from getting a divorce, not in order of importance, are the alimony I'll have to pay, the optics, and my children. I'm not sure what to do. I did get your masterclass, and I still do not know what to do. Sincerely, still stuck. Still stuck, you found a way to have all of your needs met. Your marriage is stable, you're good partners, good co-parents, and it sounds like are in a peaceful relationship. And in order to keep that peace, you didn't fight to have your needs met within the relationship. You took those needs elsewhere. And I see this all the time where someone who doesn't want to share their sexual predilections with their partner or doesn't want to inconvenience their partner or has just silently decided that their partner wouldn't be interested in that or feels ashamed of bringing their real, true sexual desires into their relationship, into their marriage, meets those needs outside, and everything's under control until feelings get involved. So it starts with a physical history of infidelity, and it turns into a combined emotional and physical infidelity. And that's where the problem comes in. But it doesn't mean you didn't have problems before. It just means now the problem has become bigger. Before, you were solving a problem for yourself by stepping outside of the marriage to get your needs met. And now that emotions are involved, it has caused a problem for you in which you have to face the fact that your life isn't integrated the way you want it to be, as long as that part is not in your marriage. That being said, it sounds to me like you actually do know what you want. You just don't like the answer you're getting. So here's what I find all of the time for anyone who works through the decision-making masterclass for spouses in an affair and says, well, I'm still not sure what to do. You do know what to do. You just don't like the results that the masterclass illustrated for you. And you don't like what's being presented to you and illuminated for you. And it's that inconvenience that's causing friction, not the fact that you don't know what to do. If you are being completely honest with yourself and with your wife, you probably want to leave the marriage for your affair partner at this point because you feel like you're in love with someone else and you have that sexual connection that's with someone else. But perhaps you are underestimating the family connection that you have with your wife. And that happens all of the time too. Losing time with your children, losing the family unit, losing the financial stability you've built together. You have built a life with your partner. And the affair threatens to absolutely take all of that down. And that's the part that you're unhappy with. That's the part that's making you feel stuck. Because all signs are pointing to, I actually want to be with this person in this relationship over here. But logistically and intellectually, you are understanding that your loyalties are strongly in your marriage and with your family. And those loyalties are very much also for yourself. So you say, the alimony I would have to pay. I don't want to part with money. The optics, I don't want to part with my reputation. My children, I don't want to compromise the way my children understand who I am. If my kids knew the real me, that might change some things. If I disrupt my children's lives, will I feel responsible for that? If I put my children through a divorce, what's that going to do to me? Will I feel guilty? Will I feel responsible for changing their lives for myself, right? So these are all of the layers that you're contending with. And here's what happens when someone needs to decide between their marriage and an affair. They're suddenly presented with a values sort. And that's exactly what the masterclass walked you through, Still Stuck. It walked you through a deep values sort. And at the end of that sort, what you wanted was to be shown that you're wanting to choose love and wanting to choose, sexual fulfillment. What the masterclass has shown you is that a high value to you is your financial stability or not having to part with half or pay alimony. Maybe you're not so happy with that being more important to you than the qualitative aspects of your life. You're not so pleased with the fact that you care about what other people think or what your choices might look like, hence why you've kept that part of yourself in secret. And you don't want to be someone who disrupts your children's lives or has to live without seeing your kids every day or whatever. You just said the children. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but it's probably layered. You're not happy with the priorities that have shown up for you. And here's the other thing that I'm picking up from this letter. There's a little bit of a sense of, and you might be unhappy with me saying this, entitlement to have it all. Before, you could have it all, and you felt like you were entitled to get your sexual needs met somewhere else at the expense of your wife, being in an honest marriage with you. But my guess is there were things about you that your wife had to go without in her relationship with you as well. And she didn't feel that she needed to have it all, and she didn't feel like she could have it all, and perhaps she accepted those things. But the person who has the affair is often just the person who's not willing to accept not having it all. So now you're being faced to make a choice. So now you're being faced with the need to make a choice. And recommitting to your marriage is asking you to opt back in. And by opting back in, you're saying, okay, I'm choosing my marriage again. So does that mean I'm willing to live without that sexual side of myself getting fulfilled? I also want to know, does that mean you're just going to continue to have affairs? Does that mean you're going to continue to cheat on her? Because if you look down the road and you don't plan to change the behaviors you've been employing for a number of years, that may be your answer. It doesn't mean that those values that came out of the masterclass aren't most important, but you're going to continue to lie and you're going to continue to step out of the relationship. And is your wife signing on for that? Or does she believe she's signing on for something different? So still stuck. You're stuck because you want it all. You're stuck because you don't want to actually have to make a choice. And none of us can have it all. You're either going to have to part with your affair partner, and you're going to have to work through grieving your feelings towards her, and you're going to have to work with contending with the limitations of the sexual relationship you have with your wife, and maybe work with your wife on that desire gap, which is very common in a relationship. You're not going to meet someone who has the exact same desire as you, right? It's like trying to meet someone who has the same, workout schedule as you and wants to go to bed at the same time. We're not the same as our partners. But can you close that gap? And have you ever tried? Do you want to try? Those are all the questions that you're actually being faced with. And so before, the affair was your answer. As long as you could have affairs, you could keep everything stable. And now, still stuck. You're stuck because you are not willing to part with one or the other. You're not stuck. You're just not willing to accept that you have a decision to make. Your values and your priorities when it comes to staying married are all external. Finances, optics, the children. Children are important. And I'm not saying that that's to be diminished. But you can work to make your relationship with your children strong and honest and good. That's not what's keeping you. On the other side of that, you're describing emotional, qualitative aspects of your life. And if you're not willing to part with one or the other, what you have to work on is acceptance. I need to figure out how to accept the fact that I am going to be giving something up. You cannot continue to live in a world in which you are not giving anything up. And that's what you got used to by having affairs. So with that in mind, I hope that you can maybe return to the masterclass with fresh eyes and look at it as an honest value sort to say, listen, there's no right or wrong. It's just what is. And am I willing to live with myself in the need to make a decision and commit to that decision? I hope this helps.